Good evening. Welcome, welcome to our continuation of focusing on the family. Extremely glad to be here at Hopewell, and we're glad for you that aren't here, are participating by our other social means that we're working with. Growing together as a family, breaking bread house to house. What's in that? House to house. What's in breaking bread? We're going to be doing some discussions on that comments. I'm Bob Petty, and to my extreme left, my favorite right sister, that usually get fired, Marie Maddox. All right, tonight's lesson, Tyler, our theme, as I just said, is growing together as a family, breaking bread house to house. That's unique. Text, let's go to Acts 2:46. And they continued daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house did eat. Their meat with gladness and singleness of heart. We're working from a great book, and I once again commend the Education Department for coming up with great books each year. They've done it again. The title of the book is Building Family Ties with Faith, Love, and Laughter by Dave Stone. And tonight's lesson is going to be working together through difficult situations. Coming from Laugh Like You Mean It, chapter 4, coming out of that same book, and Plotting for Joy, coming chapter 10. Let us pray. Eternal Father, on this beautiful late summer evening, we're coming with our heads bowed and thankfulness in our hearts for giving us another day. Hot, but it's another day, and we're grateful for it. We're grateful to be inside of this temple that we call Hopewell MB Church. Grateful for the members that work together here and worship here. Then we ask that blessing upon this lesson that we're about to discuss. May it help to bring families closer together. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Usually, before I begin our discussion, I would like for us to look at something dealing with children learn what they live. Children learn what they live. Okay. He goes on to say, if a child lives with criticism, he learns to condemn. If a child lives with hostility, he learns to fight. If a child lives with ridicule, he learns to be shy. If a child lives with shame, he learns to feel guilty. If a child lives with tolerance, he learns to be patient. If a child lives with encouragement, he learns confidence. If a child lives with praise, he learns to appreciate. If a child lives with fairness, he learns justice. Amen. If a child lives with security, he learns to have faith. If a child lives with approval, he learns to like himself. And if a child lives with acceptance and friendship, he learns to find love in the world. Things that will enhance the child in us. Now, as we begin our discussion, I really want you to think back when you were a child, and you come out of these big families of 10 and 12 and 14. Some of this stuff we just got to read. I can't see it. But even at that, there was something going on unique in your family. It was unique. And we're going to talk about it. Then the author suggests, what is it that you want to accomplish today? And my discussion will be to understand why humor is important. Why is humor important? Let me quite interesting. And get to Marie, we'll be talking about discussing the difference between happiness and joy. Before I read this, I thought they both were the same. But no, they are the same. And finally, we want to demonstrate ways to create lasting memories. Now go back. Go back to when you were a child. Something that mom and dad did, and we're a family of 11. Marie and I come from families of 11. Other people come from families of 14. That's a lot of people. A lot of the stuff that you do today, you did not do it then.
That's right.
You did not. You didn't have the room for it. 14 people in 2 or 3 rooms, and that's the way it was. But you still found ways to create a family. I often said that we were farmers. If you were out in the cotton field chopping, picking, hoeing, whatever it was, the family was there. They were united together there. You'd be surprised. That's how it was right there. If we're going to chop cotton, we chop cotton. If we're going to kill chicken, we all kill chicken. If we were going to cut up kraut, whatever it was, the family moved as a unit. That was. And today you find yourself trying to do what? Find time to that. It happened automatically. So that's just one of the things that, all right. Well, were there humor doing that stuff? Why do you want to have humor in it? Why is it that you can't be serious? I just got to be serious at all times. Anybody got a comment? Why is it that you, boy, there's no place in the church for someone to have a lot of love. There's just no place for that. Now, how does that sound? Is there a place? Well, they asked the doctors. Ms. Rachel, the doctor says it relieves stress. That's what laughter does. Lowers blood pressure. Takes some wrinkles out of your face. These are the things that humor does. Okay. We go back to when you were children, and you ought to be thinking for a moment, see if you come up with one like that. In them houses of all those people, did you find something to laugh at? Did dad or mom did something unique that made you laugh? And that you can remember that laugh. Is there a favorite uncle that came in and said, but there was some humor. Then there was somebody probably in the family who was a comedian. There are comedians in the family who keep the family laughing. And that. Now, it's quite interesting when we asked that, Marie, can you think back in our family where there was somebody that created humor, that did something, there may be somebody who studied all the time, and he got laughed, or she got laughed at, you got laughed at. It was something unique there that happened to keep it going. I look back, and you often hear me say that, I'm real proud of being a Petty. And watch it, you get personal. Hello, Patty, back there. And I'm proud of, and I'm proud of my Uncle Sam. He was the one that brought a tremendous lot of laughter. Because he would say things like, don't dare mess with no ugly woman. There are no ugly, petty women. Don't dare bring Willie around. But those are the humors he brought in. And today he's been dead almost 20 years, and I'm still remembering those humanistic things that he brought in that keeps the family going. All right. The question comes up then, did Jesus? Well, now I know you're fixing to lose your mind now. You got to be going out there. Did Jesus have a sense of humor? Wow. How'd you think about this when you read that stuff? Did you might read that? Who read that? How'd you feel about it when you first saw that? Jesus, you mean he had a sense of humor? Wow. And you probably heard the author suggested two verses that he pointed out. You probably have heard them all about this seed, about this a piece of sawdust in the eye, and you can't see. You remember that one? Yeah. And again I say unto, this is Matthew 19:24. And again I say unto you, if it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. How many times have you heard that? Every pastor up here preached it, you read it. You don't see any humor. Is that meant to, the author suggests that's humor? What makes that humor in your sight? Now, you and I both know you're not going to get no camel with two humps on his back to go through a needle. Now, you and I, think about that. If you think about it from that point of view, it's laughter in it. That's where when I interpreted it, I went back and I thought about it in that sense. Well, the question that I'm really asking there, because I think that the Joneses probably have the youngest children. The rest of us got old grandchildren and great-grands around the house. But what are you doing now to bring humor and laughter in the family? What are you doing? Because most of these kids got more electronics in their rooms, in their phones, than we ever thought. So do they want to be bothered with you? You're too slow? Matter of fact, probably your phone is too slow. They want the latest phone and all that. So I'm asking you, and I want us to get a discussion on that. What are you doing? How can you bring some humor? Because what I talked about a few minutes ago, man, you outdoors like, Jones can, they're the youngest one. They didn't grow up in Newmarket, so they don't know. You set outdoors on the porch, and you burn old shoes, and that's outdoors. That's what you were at night, with no television. That and the bed. And the bed was hot because the kitchen was hot from cooking. So think about this. Now, you got these fantastic homes and all this electronic gear. What am I going to do with a 7-year-old kid? That's some things that we hope to get you to start thinking about. I don't know. My grandson tells me, Dad, that's old. Papa, that's just old. The music you like, that's old. Whatever it is, the food you like, that's old. It's everything that he sees me liking, it's old. But maybe I am touching something along the way. But tell me, I'm serious. I want to hear from you all, the audience here. What is it? How did you get around this, all of this electronic? Young man over there, you got all, he got his phone on right now. How can we get humor into that? Anybody? She has her hand up back there. Go ahead back there, Ms. Jones.
In our house, we have the gamut of ages of children, with the youngest being 3,
okay,
and the oldest being 16. And the middle child is 11. But one thing that we do at home is we have family game night, where we pull out like the Monopoly board, or, board games, Uno cards, regular cards. And you gotta have tough skin, because we talk a lot of noise the whole time. You gotta be able to take a joke. You gotta be able to laugh about it. So we just, just try to be creative with them and spend time with them, and just, make things fun, like family game night. It's just, as simple as Monopoly, but, when I'm winning all the time,
Now, of the 3 children, you find it the difficulty more so with the older one or the lesser one? Well, where is the...
all of us like to play. The oldest one, I think the older she gets, the more she's a teenager, and she thinks we're old.
Yeah.
I try to tell her I'm nowhere near old. And then, of course, the baby doesn't, he'll be 3 next month.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really care. He's just in the midst,
Okay. All right.
and stuff. But we give him something to make him think he's playing Monopoly. He's not really playing, no. But
But you mentioned a few minutes ago that there's humor there. There's humor there. That's what we wanted to bring out some of everything. But anybody else, that was good. But now you're finding it hard. Is that Jimmy got a hand up? I guess the question I'm trying to get, are you finding it hard with this electronic stuff? Breaking that barrier, people. I think that's why can we break that barrier? Can we bring back some of that type of humanness?
My children, of course, are older, but we do have grandchildren. And one thing that we do, we go out to dinner or something, electronics have to go away. You talk to the people who are present. We're not on the phone texting to somebody who's not in the room with you. So try to, keep that focus is we're here, and let's communicate with the people who are around you at the moment and not, on those electronics.
Let me ask you, do you think that when we pass off the scene, some of the stuff that you're doing now, you will find that your children and grandchildren are probably picking up on it? What do you think about that? Do you think that may be happening? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bobby, one of the things that we do when we get together as a family, me and Corey, we're the clowns of the family.
I felt you were.
Yeah, and we like to have a good time, but it brings the family closer together because the kids, our grandchildren, know that we can come together and have a good time, but there's a line of respect that is not crossed even in humor. So that brings our family close together, and I thank God for my family that we've reached that balance where we can bring humor and fellowship together and still not cross that line. Even Corey's 46 years old,
Yeah.
but he knows where we can go on that line. So humor really does have a positive impact on the family.
All right. Pastor come in. Pastor, I'll say this one for you. We dealing here. They said that Jesus had humor, and I didn't know that. I just couldn't believe that I was going to find that until I read the scriptures here. But I guess the question that I really wanted to get to does humor have a place in church? Does it have a place in the family and as well as in church? Yes, sir. I'll say, I knew you, our son came in, I knew you were coming.
I would just say that as the scripture tells us, there's a time and a place for everything. And so sometimes we can go too far and not be sensitive of the moment that we're in, but I think that there's a time and a place for everything. So to everything, there is an order, there is a season. So, yeah.
All right. So there it is, people. The pastor says that Bob Petty can tell a joke here once in a while and Jesus Christ. But now, if you're teaching, no one, I think, wants to go in a class where it's just the same old all the time. You never noticed the person had teeth or not. You never saw it. All you hear was rats. Humor can break what? It can break the monotony. It can break it. It shows that you're human. Okay. All right. Well, what about sometime I'm playing? I know Roosevelt said he and his son, I think, Is there a time that you just want to crack up, say something spontaneously? Is there a time for that? Is there a time? I mean, have you found yourself in a situation where you needed that? Who's that? Somebody on the very back there? Oh, she just walking around with it in her hand. But we asked her, is there a time you need to, something not even planned, Mr. Strong, not even planned, but it happened. He does it all the time. Can you share some of that, Mr. Strong?
Sit down, Roland.
I'm hoping I get you assessed enough. That's what I was trying to do. The author made some things up. Once again, you're dealing with smaller children. I found out when my children got older, they didn't want to be around Louisiana. Especially J.R. And Karen liked laying around because she's going to get access to the money and all the other stuff. But did you find them that didn't want to go on trips? Did they reach an age where they don't want to travel with you? Has anybody else experienced that? I want y'all old. I don't want to go. Y'all going down to Mississippi by yourselves. Used to be we all would go to Mississippi and go there. But spontaneous is what I'm trying to grapple with. Do you think of an incident where, hey, a good laugh may be good, and how can I make this thing work to get this thing going good? Yes, sir.
Well, again, Bob, I don't want to hog the mic, even though I have it. But, again, we talk about, how humor strengthens the family and spontaneity. We got our daughter-in-law that's, Corey's wife. Mm-hmm. And, Corey's going through some sickness. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but, his leg swells up a lot. So, most people say, well, you don't want to talk about it, but she told him that he has a pregnant leg, and you would think, but that's the kind of humor that breaks up, yes. That takes him away from, hey, I'm sick, yes. And it's not cruel, and we just all just bust out laughing when she said he got a pregnant leg, so we call him PL now. All right. So because of that humor, right. and again, it strengthens the family because instead of us focusing on his sickness, we can make levity of his sickness and still know that we can pray to God that it's still serious, yes. but we don't have to dwell on that yes. sickness.
That's good. That's good illustration. Spur of the moment. The author answered, he said, when was the last time you did something spur of the moment? Now going back, it's amazing there, because a lot of this stuff here, we didn't have ice cream parlors growing up. You didn't have no, talking about going out to get ice cream. You didn't have no fancy Burger King out here in New Market, Walmart. You didn't have all that. So how are you going? I keep going back to, I want somebody, this young man, what? I guess I'm trying to draw you in here because you're young, much younger. He's younger than you, I believe. What do you feel about humor in the family? What makes you laugh in your family? When Dad pulls out a 20, you want 100. I'm saying. Can you give one that's in the family?
What makes you laugh is just kind of picking at my dad sometimes.
He does what now?
Picking at my dad.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
All right. But Lisa, you're going to remember that all the rest of your life. That's what we're talking about, is making memories. And then you'll find yourself replicating him later on. You're going to find that. Yes. All right. You ladies,
yeah, I mean, I remember we had a conversation with Pastor Davidson and the Davidson family one day after church, and he was telling me about how much laughter they have in their family because Carnell will get up and mark Pastor Davidson as he preaching.
all right. Y'all done told me he's gonna be a preacher.
Yeah. And he said, and of course, Carnell, be careful because Carnell marks everybody in the church.
He does.
Yeah. Again, that's humor. And we had a good time discussing that, you know, for about 20, 30 minutes after church about, you know, how you know, the fun they have at home by marking one another and, you know, and having a good time and having a lot of humor in the family.
Now, especially now with the other two brothers gone, they all are here. That's all here. All right, good point, good point. Now, when you choose to do something as humorous in your, why are you doing it? Roosevelt said earlier about his sickness in his son, why his wife is. But why are you doing some things? Why do you do it? He just said it is to break away, to break that island, to break away of what you got your sights on. Now, we'll come back, but Pastor mentioned it 2 minutes ago too. You can go to the extremes. Now, if you get it's okay to have some humor, but if you're gonna start ridiculing someone, making someone feel smaller or lesser, that's not good. That's negative there, and that's gonna be a downfall. Well, what was the last time you spent some time with the family? And this gets serious here, boy. Well, first of all, how many of you all eat together? Around the wife had cooked up a bowl of chitlins, a bowl of turnip greens, whatever it is, and that's that. So, how many of you eat together? I mean, get your hand down, tell me like you. Excuse me, Ms. Jones, go ahead. Yes, you saying yes, you eat. Okay. All right. I'm in the morning. Football game on. As the world turns is on. Tomorrow is on. All of that stuff is on. Shut the TV down. No, not if it's the football game. The TV stays on. But I want you to, I just want you to see. That's an excellent time to do some family. And years ago, it was actually family time. And I wasn't joking about most of us who grew up here. All you heard was beans, a prayer was said, and the beans were eaten. And there wasn't no mumbling, oh, you got beans again today. No. Whatever put on that table, you ate it and went on. But you were together. And there could be some discussion there at that table. That's a good time to do some of that. Okay. All right. Any questions? Anybody got something? Rachel, like something just burning your eyebrows. Is it burning? Yeah. I understand. That's what we recall. That's why I call on this young man because, and of course, the Joneses have a little super small one, and the rest of you got great grandkids and that kind of stuff. But I'm convinced it's tough now with the technology that everyone has. And well, when Marie come up, we're gonna start talking about what did you do during this pandemic. What did you do during all that time when buses weren't running and school was shut down? The older ones tried to get a job. That's what they did. They tried to go get jobs. What did you do with that time there? Yes, ma'am. All right, what you do, slap somebody around?
That's it. And some mornings we get up, we watch TV most of the day, and then we would get up and get dressed and ride out, get us a bite to eat. Then we just, sometimes we just ride. We get up one day and we say, just ride. And we just get in the truck and we just ride.
While you were riding, did you,
Talk.
you said you talked some and fussed
Yeah.
some and?
Laugh.
Oh,
We done a lot
laugh.
of laughing.
Excellent time you were what, together. That's the main thing you were. And it's amazing how, like I said, for a long time there, we had been what, dispersing ourselves, and we were what, brought together. The pandemic brought us together to some degree.
Yeah, 'cause for years, I've always worked nights, and my husband have always worked days.
Yes.
So we were just seeing each other in the past.
Passing.
But when the pandemic came, I told him I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it or not, because, we had never spent that much time together.
Yeah.
Since I'm not working now,
Yeah.
And, but we've learned to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the children saw you in that environment.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. All right. So the televisions are off, they're gone, the iPads, the latest phone. You don't need the kids. I'm asking, Ms. Young, how are you managing that with all this technology there? I know you done bought that $1,000 phone. I saw one yesterday with $2,000 phone. I'm sure Ollie gonna come in, Papa. I'm gonna say no, Papa. Had it. It's amazing what we said to our children, though. We give in. We give in to them. But I ask you, is it more competitive to compete against the stuff?
I answer it since I answer. What we do in our house is there's a time when your phone has to be put up.
I mean,
For a while with our kids, they couldn't get their phones Monday through Friday.
what you,
They couldn't get their phones till Friday when they got out of school. They were able to use it on the weekend. Then when we felt that they were a little bit more responsible, we would let them get it throughout the week sometimes. But at a certain time, it's like, look, that phone needs to be put on the kitchen counter. Don't touch it till we say you can touch
you are
it.
a slave driver.
Hey, we got to do what you got to do. But I understand what you're saying is that because with technology, they don't want to do the things that they're supposed to do. So my thing is, we've learned that if you take it away from them, it'll do it. Some people, it's like you have to find how to make your kids do certain things. Old school, some people like you got to whoop them. Some of them you got to talk to them. But I've learned today, you take their phone and you take their technology away from them, you will see a whole lot more action going on. And they know that if they don't do what they're supposed to do, it'll go away from them. So they will stay on top of what they do because they want their phones to text and do stuff with their friends.
Okay.
I was going to say that's all true. Yeah, we started them off no phones during the week at all, and to an extent we still do that with our kids. But you had asked a minute ago about how we manage, how everybody managed during the pandemic when
Yes.
everything originally shut down. And in the beginning, I was considered an essential worker, so I was still working. But once I started working from home, I found it very important to learn my children. So we started cooking a lot. And in the cooking and teaching them how to make a peach cobbler, or how to make the baked macaroni and all of that stuff, you just taught, And I learned, my 11-year-old Carmen is quite the baker. She followed instructions from a recipe book I had and made a pound cake.
Go.
It was okay, but she took it upon herself to learn how to do it. So we took up family hobbies like that, and we would just cook things.
Okay.
And cook and talk so of course with the pandemic we didn't eat out a lot you know, at all. So everything that we had in the kitchen, you know, we made use of that kitchen time and that family time. So that's one of the, and it also took them away from being on their phones so much, because I have actual cookbooks that you got to turn the pages open and not just go on your phone and find the recipe, you know. So we just kind of, I took that time to learn and to talk to them,
Yes.
you know, because in addition to that, dealing with the pandemic itself, none of us really knew how to deal with it, because nobody alive has been in a pandemic before now.
No.
And so we were all just dependent on each other for everything. So that's what we did and how we coped with it without having to rely on electronics all the time or watching TV all the time. We found something that we could do together, and which was cooking.
All right. Now that we got one more section we're going to go into, I want you to think back over your life, and some of you got to go way back, Jimmy. One incident that stands out that brought the greatest humor to you. Is there one incident, something that happened, something that happens every year? Maybe it's at Christmas time, maybe it's at Easter, maybe it's something that my mom said, and I still get a chuckle from it. Any incidents like that you might want to share? Any incident like that? Any? She reaches for.
There's one particular incident we still remember, and like I said, our kids are old, grown, and have children of their own. But we recall our middle son, when we first moved to Washington, we were at Fort Lewis, and he had just turned 16, and so we had a barbecue for his birthday celebration, and we were out in the yard playing volleyball, and everybody was hyping him up. It's like, go Rooster, go, and called him Rooster, the nickname. And he was just all excited about hitting the volleyball. And he is, what about, almost 7 feet? But yeah, he was serving the ball, and he hit it right into the net. And so, you know, that's something that we all remember, and we laugh about it today, and he's 45, so, you know, that's a long time ago, but we still remember that.
It's still there. Good, very good. Somebody's got to be, everybody can have something back. Mr. Strong, when you and Robert were fighting over the wagon, or something happened back there. It's got to be something.
We didn't get a wagon. Not one. Ready to throw rocks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What came out of that, Mr. Strong? What laughter, and you still remember that? You still remember that incident? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I still remember. I'm the one got hit with the rocks.
Good. We used to have several hogs when we were growing up, and we used to ride hogs. I got to grow up in Newmarket on the farm to appreciate this, but it was why we bring, it's a lot of laughter how we would ride hogs in the hog pen. That's crazy, but that's stuff that we did that's unique. What about for birthdays, Christmas? All of these appreciation things that's human. And as I tell Marie and the other family, you don't need a lot of money. You don't, maybe today the kids will say you need a lot, but you don't need a lot of money to a real child. You need a lot of time. You need time. Some of that stuff, the less you give, probably the better off you're going to be. The time is what you need to invest in that child. Yes, sir, Pastor. Oh, that's good age.
So what we and I hope he's not watching this tonight, hope he's in his home. But what we used to put, the tree was over in the corner in the living room, and kind of put because it was one of those trees that you went out and pulled out of the woods and you had to set it up. So we put it over in the corner so they cut out the stuff that would be all over the floor. So the morning of Christmas, we could see the stuff, and parents, of course, had gotten the stuff with us. So me and my brother, we get up in the morning, we racing, trying to get to the tree first. He goes over into the little area where the tree is, and there goes the tree. fell down, everything, to all the pieces. And so, I just always remember that.
Yeah, that's always, these are loving these incidents.
Did he get a whooping?
Equivalent morning, he didn't get one. But if, before Marie works on her part, let me ask this. Has there been a time that it's been regretful for you that maybe that was the wrong time for that humor? Have you experienced anything like that?
Bobby? Yeah. When my daughter was born, Tanya was born, I was in the delivery room with Annette, and she was going through her labor pains.
You feel this pain?
Yeah. And I tried to use humor to get her through. That was a mistake. I mean, I was 19, but I remember that. She looked at me and she said some words I don't ever want to repeat. But I know we didn't have any more children after that.
All right.
but I learned that was the wrong time to try to use humor.
All right. That's a good point. That's an excellent point. At least the lesson is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's creating those memories and into them. Okay. Well, Marie, how you doing? Been really quiet, girl?
Yes.
We mentioned from the go the pandemic, and by the way, class, I'm not sure that we are on our way out. I don't know. If we don't get some vaccinations in, I'm not sure we're going to get out of this in the near future. But tonight I've asked you about it because it has impacted all our lives. All of us been impacted. I'm not sure if we had not given people some money, that some people couldn't have eaten. They just, you remember those long lines, 2 and 3 miles long, and just to get a little food. That just shows you how bad things were. Also on television, how many, up to 2,000 people dying a day. Oh man, that's a tremendous lot of problem. Then we got our shots, you got where you could get a shot, let's put it that way. They took care of us old timers first. If you were 60 to 75, 80, you got your shot first. So we got our shot first, old timers. Then they got to the point here where anybody can get the shot. And we got what? Here in Alabama, what, 29%? 35, still not taking, and it's down in the, more dying is taking place in the 45-year-old, 30-year-old lesser groups. But I brought that up because in any obstacle in our lives, can we find some way, well, I guess, is there, can you find some, in your deepest, saddest hour, did you find joy? How did you dig your way out of that? How did you overcome that? Some of us have experienced some tragedy within the last 6 weeks or so. Some of us lost loved ones. They're at Nason now, and family up in Scottsburg. There's an office in Scottsburg closed. Everybody in the office has COVID. You say, well, how is that? That's devastating there. One young lady is on the ventilator, and you know how tragic that stuff is. So the question is, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with these when something comes so tragic in your life how do you deal with it? And earlier I mentioned something about happiness and joy. Wow, I always thought they both were the same thing, Marie. All right, Marie, take me out of here, girl.
Okay. Well, the second part of our study is plotting for joy, facing adversity situations. And this come out of James chapter 1, verse 2 through 4. And as it reads, pain and suffering are inevitable. Many believers think that once they become Christians,
That's right.
they become immune to pain and tragedy. The Bible teaches us that this is not the case. And so we talk about adversity that happened in our life, tragedy, trauma. And we are now, one of the big things we're dealing with right now is the COVID-19. And then it goes on to how do we relate to illness, death of a loved one. When our children are rebellious to us, how do we handle that? Divorces, financial situations. So, as I read further, it says, in all of these setbacks of your life, as a believer, God is plotting for your joy. Sometimes it's hard to see God's plan, but we can trust that God has the purpose for the trials we encounter and that He is working things out for our good. So in our lesson, we refer to learning that joy is another fruit of the Spirit. And you know, as we used to say, that joy comes in the morning. You may weep and endure, sorrow and pain during the night, but in the morning time, that joy comes. So when we're into this situation, it is not based on circumstances. Joy comes from who you know and whose you are. It comes from God's Spirit residing in you as you believe in Him and obey His command. So, our day-to-day attitude with our family grow out of an internal relationship with Jesus, not the external circumstance of life. So I'm coming back to that point of view in a few minutes, but I do have questions that I'd like to ask you. What was or is the most difficult thing you have had to face in your life? Is there anyone like to share a moment of a difficult time that you had to face in your life?
The loss of my mother.
All right.
I mean, how did you, we know that time has in essence a way of healing a lot of things. But how did you reach some ease at that? How did you calm this conflict?
Well, to be honest with you, when I lost my mom, I was in church, but I was in church, but I wasn't practicing. So I wasn't doing anything that I was supposed to. I didn't have the belief like I had now. So when I lost my mom, it was a period of depression. And the only thing that got me over, to be honest, is just time. I didn't have no humor. There was no humor that could make me feel better. And that's one of the things that we learn as deacons is, is in a time somebody lose somebody they love or something like that, there's words that we can do to comfort them. They already know about Jesus, they know God, they know those kind of things. And I'm not sure if humor is appropriate for that particular situation. But when I lost my mom, I don't think there was anything that could have comforted me at that particular time.
Testimony. Other question, somebody want to share something? As Ms. Rachel, I hope that Ms. Rachel is going to speak up.
Well, I'd just like to share, I lost my mom, my brother, two brothers, a daughter, and a sister, and a nephew. And the way I got over this song that I always sing that helped me, and that's Yes, Jesus Loved Me.
Yes, I know.
And I always remember that, keep that song in my heart, and and it just helped me through.
Good point. These are good points. That's the inner spirit, I think, that what Marie was trying to point out to you. That joy comes from that. Any other comments?
And then, sometimes we want to know when you receive bad news or sadness in your life, how does it affect you? Does it make you, does it deal with sadness, disappointment, hurt,
Or anger.
anger, or joy? People react differently in all types of situations. That is something to think about.
I guess that's a very good question. How then does someone looking on, if I'm looking on at Roosevelt, and he's going through a crisis, do I have a right to try to suggest that that's not that bad? No empathy, whatever it is. And you found out people will make comments when someone is going through a calamity in their life, and you don't understand that issue. But you should understand that there is an issue. If you have not gotten it, it's coming. Keep living, as Deacon Bell would say, it's coming. So how about that? How about the negativism that we sometimes fail to show? How that we show non-love, non-caring about a person because you don't know all they're going through in that, like you said, the time. Yes, ma'am.
I had a coworker whose daughter was killed tragically in an accident, and I guess it's probably been maybe 10 years or more since it happened. But just recently, within the last maybe 2 or 3 years, she and I had a conversation about it because she had basically kept her daughter's room the way it was, all the furnishings and everything. And so about 2 or 3 years ago, she decided to change their room, and she and I had a discussion about it, and she was saying, that, if somebody came to visit her, they wouldn't stay in that room. And she didn't quite understand at the time why, but as she got over her grief and all, she understood, that they didn't want to be in there because that was, kind of like a shrine to her daughter. And so once she changed all of that, then it changed the atmosphere in that room in her house. And she was asking me, because she was saying that people kind of were saying that she needed to move on, basically, and change. And so she was asking me about it. And, one thing I shared with her is that, nobody can tell you how long to grieve, and when you need to move on. And when you feel that you are ready to move on, then, that's when you do it. But don't let anybody push you to say that it's time to move on. Everybody grieves in their own time and in their own way, and it took her a while, but she was able to move past that, and do other things in her life and let go of that part of her life.
Good. Getting close to close. All of us remember Bobby McCray. I don't think no one can. I don't know what we got from. We got so much from him, from his sickness, right over here. He's sick, and yet he brought more inspiration to us than he did. It was just weird for him to be able to do that Sunday after Sunday until the Yahweh couldn't come. But he brought inspiration to the church. That's what I think about that often in his presence. Yeah.
Deacon Lloyd said, answer to your question, he said he lost his mom and went to war a month apart. This was the lowest part of his life. He said trying to stay alive helped him, but it was a very tough time.
Another. All right.
So Apostle Paul learned to be content in all situations because his overriding goal in life was to know Christ. So this is where joy comes in our life. Our relationship with Christ changes how we view sadness, suffering, setbacks, and sickness. Trials, tragedy, and temptation can destroy a family, or they can strengthen their bonds. So in my study, it brings out that for us to get through all of the things that come in our life, you have to have Christ in you. That's right. And when you don't have him in you, you take on the worldly things, whatever satisfies you or whatever you think will get you through the best way, and you get lost out there. But if you stay on the narrow road and letting Christ lead you and live within you, he's going to get you out of that situation where you will smile and have that joy in your life again. And so I have a favorite scripture that whenever things come in my life, it's Proverbs 3rd chapter, verses 5 and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. Acknowledge him and he will direct your way. And so that's how I deal with a lot of things. In a prayer that I pray, that when trouble gets there and I look at it and I say, Lord, it's bigger than me. I can't handle it. I'm going to give it to you. And that's how I deal with a lot of my situations.
Okay. And one more final of these. What does your home or family do? Interesting. Beliefs shapes behavior. Attitude affects action. Character controls conversation. Joy flourishes when our focus is on purpose rather than possessions. Fantastic. We thank you for your time. And Maria and I hope that you'll enjoy our discussion. Sure.
Okay, we'd like to thank Bobby and Marie for that great lesson tonight on joy and how joy can help us through life. I just want to make a couple of announcements. That there will not be a Bible study next Wednesday, the 1st of September. We will have a congregational meeting of all the members. We're inviting all the members to be here. And then I'll ask everybody to join us again at this coming Sunday at 09:15 for the summary of the Sunday school lesson, and then join us for our Sunday service at 9:30. And we're asking everybody to please come out. We're practicing safety protocols, pandemic protocols, so you're safe. So come out and join us, and if you can't, then join us on the various media. And I think anybody know of anybody that's sick that I'm not aware of in the building that we not know of? Okay. We want to thank everybody who came out tonight. We got a nice little crowd out tonight for Wednesday night, so I guess we thank everybody for coming out and being a part of it. Yeah. Okay. God bless you. Thank you, Bobby. And I'm going to say a closing prayer, if that's okay.
Be good, sir.
Okay. Father God in heaven, we thank you for this word, God, that you've given to Bobby and Marie to give to your people, God. And as always, God, I ask you to compartmentalize your word into our hearts to guide us, God, and then let us dispatch it into the world and share it with others, God, that they may see you in us. For it's in your name,